Hello everybody, welcome back to RimWorld 1.0. Today is going to be a tutorial session on how to start a brand new game. This is going to be the unmodded how-to because, well, simply put, a modded series on how to start and how you should start is going to change depending on the mods that you're running. But we will get into modding after we go through kind of the base game and let you get a feel for how the game works. So to start with, let's go with how to start another game. We're going to go to New Colony. You can go to tutorial. It does teach you a lot. But it is kind of limited. So let's bypass the tutorial and go to New Colony. Typically the Crash Landed, it's a really good start for if you're playing new, you have never played the game before, this is a really good start. Lost Tribe, you basically start out with more people but less tech, and well, more people means you have to feed more people. So it's good, but it takes longer to get going if you're wanting for a long playthrough. This is actually a very good one. The Rich Explorer, I would recommend this one only if you've already played through a couple of times. This is a lone explorer. He starts out with a lot of resources, but if you get sick and you're by yourself, you can't usually heal yourself if you're downed. It's a very tricky way to start, but it can be done. And now we have the Naked Brutality. You start with 1 people, chosen from 8, and you start completely naked. You have to get everything yourself. This one is brutal. I would suggest that you only play this one if you have played this game quite a few times and feel completely comfortable with it. Let's go with the basic, the Crash Landed. It's the easiest one to start with. You can also go in and edit your scenario to start with more or less stuff of a certain thing depending on how you feel. I would say for your first playthrough, just go with the basics. And let's go to next. Okay, for your AI storyteller, this is just how the pace of your game is going to run. Classic Cassandra, she is absolutely amazing, usually the one that I play on, because she starts out easy and gets progressively harder over time. Then we have a Phoebe, who will give you a lot of time in between, then she'll hit you hard. So she doesn't gradually build up, but she gives you some time in between. And then you've got Randy Random for those masochists out there. He's just truly and utterly random. Usually most of the raids through all of these are catered towards the wealth of your colony, and by wealth I mean how many characters, how much silver you have, how much steel you have. It calculates all of that, so it's all leveled with you, but at the same time, Cassandra is usually the best one to start with. So since this is starting out, we're going to go with Cassandra. If you've never played this game before, Builder or Medium would be the best ones if you are really just wanting to build in the game and see all of the research, all of the places you could go. If you're wanting to learn how to caravan, maybe Peaceful might be the one that you pick for that particular playthrough, but to get a real feel for it, I would say Builder. It's not hard at all. The raids are going to be relatively small, but it gives you a chance to learn what the workbenches do, what all the researches give you, and everything else like that. So let's go with Builder. This is absolutely the easiest thing I would recommend. Peaceful, if you're just wanting to build. Reload anytime. Definitely, whenever you're starting out, reload anytime, because you never know when a corrupted file is going to happen, when something absolutely bizarre is going to happen, like you play with one character, they get downed, and there's nothing you can do. You can reload from your last save. Commitment mode. For those of you who want to play a storyline mode, and if you die, you die. That's part of the story. This is definitely for you. You cannot reload. It saves when you exit the game. So harder, definitely commitment mode. Merciless mode is also there, and for Naked Brutality, Merciless for definitely the masochists and higher level players. I won't even do that, and I've got over 500 hours in this game. Well over 500 hours. Next. Siege. You can change these to whatever. It just kind of changes the land masses, so let's just go with, I don't know, Jeweler. Global coverage, depending on the size, depends on how long it takes to load in. 30% is fine for a normal playthrough. Average rainfall and temperature, do not put this thing on high. Your characters will die not too long into the game. I'm telling you this now because I killed a group not realizing what these sliders meant. Overall rainfall, I would say if you're playing with a hygiene mod, this would come into play. Overall temperature, if you're wanting to make it harder and have more cold snaps or heat waves, I would play around with this. First game starters, don't touch that, please. Don't touch that. It would hurt my feelings. Voila! This is our world. Okay, now this particular map, it gives you icons for the different types of factions, and you can look at your factions here at this button. These are neutral, the reds are hostile, and the numbers indicate how hostile they are. They can go to -80. There's always one group. There will always be one group. It doesn't matter how much relations you work on, that will always hate you. That way you still have raids. The rest of them you can get on your side and eventually make these to where they're no longer hostile to you. You can make these where they're friendly with you. Actually, you can make all these where they're friendly with you and they come in and trade with you and they stop attacking you. It will not lower the amount of raids you get. It's generated on a number of when a raid should happen, and it doesn't matter how many factions, it will choose that faction. If you have one faction, you're still going to get the same amount. It's just always going to be the pirate band. So just keep that in mind. It really doesn't have a whole lot of change on the gameplay itself, knowing what factions you have, unless you are modded, in which case there are some harder factions you probably should focus on. 4. Your forest playthrough. I would definitely recommend something in a temperate forest, somewhere around here, around the equator, where grow zones are all the time. I mean, you want your growing all the time to start with, because having to create indoor grow areas is challenging. It's already challenging enough when you have a toxic fallout. You'll be explaining that one whenever we get to that particular point about infants, you know, babies, because that had something to do with this game, right? Okay, let's see. Select a random site. No. Close. No. Back. Close. Okay. This is arid shrubland, and then we've got mountainous. That's what all of those are. Tropical swamp. If you go over here and take a look, it'll tell you what to expect in these particular areas. Tropical swamp is basically, they call it the disease-making living nightmare for a reason. There are 2 disease frequencies per year. Usually will strike about half of your colony, if not a little over half. Before you learn how to make medicines and stuff, it's very hard to deal with. Temperate forest, 1.7 a year, so a slight, oh, that's tropical forest. I am looking for temperate, please. Temperate forest, 1.2. That's a little bit better. Year-round. The terrain is flat for your first playthrough. I would recommend larger hills or mountains, because it gives you a way to back your colony up against a wall. That way you only have to defend on one side, even if you don't believe in the kill zones, which make raids a whole lot easier, in my opinion. If you don't believe in having a kill zone, it still makes it to where you only have to defend on a couple of fronts instead of all the way around. So I would recommend the mountains or large hills. And let's see, stone types, marble, sandstone, limestone, marble being the strongest one. So this is a good location, but if you're going for aesthetics, maybe you like slate. You can click around and find one that may have slate. This only has marble and limestone, granite and marble. Let's see, what else have we got? This has got marble, slate, and sandstone, so we could go for this one. Year-round. Landfall isn't huge, except that it also cleans up the planet a little bit. It does have berries. Animals can graze right now. Disease frequency is 1.2, so it's pretty good. And the special features are caves. Only issue is when it starts with caves, you have to deal with an infestation, usually that's already on the map when you jump in. And you can somewhat keep your characters away from it, so it's not too bad. Let's see. I'm okay with this area, actually. So let's go to next. Let's see. You get 3 characters because of our 3 crash landed, and you get these guys to choose from. So we have got, she's got a good construction skill, going from 1 to 20 on these, a great crafting, a great artistic, and these little right here, this is, they've got a passion for it. This one is they've got a burning passion for it, which means not only do they learn it fast, which is what these guys get with a passion, burning passion means not only do they learn it fast, they get joy from doing it. So while she's doing her art, she's also getting recreation in, which is really good. She has no health conditions, which is good, but she's incapable of cooking and plant work. She's kind of iffy. I really like the fact that she's got that like of construction, but having characters with incapables at the beginning part of the game make it harder. So let's see what else we can do. Pretty good across the board. I'm not hugely impressed, though. Pretty good across the board. Not hugely impressed, though. Construction, mining, medical, plants. This one's pretty good. Incapable of none. Wimp and a slowpoke. Wimp meaning they are going to go back. He's going to go down fast. Slowpoke means he's not going to move very fast, and he has a stab scar, which means he's going to move even slower, so no. Abrasive, neurotic, gonna get on everybody's nerves. Slowpoke, tough, undergrounder. These might make it worth it. Really good medical. Construction, mining, shooting, incapable of none. So let's put him up there. Yeah, Slowpoke is kind of offset by all the interests and the fact that there's more higher level interests. Alright, what we're looking down here for is for us to have somebody who's pretty good at medical, who's pretty good at construction because you need to build up the base, someone who has a cooking skill because you don't want everybody with food poisoning. It slows them down, they eat more, and I haven't had anybody die from it, but in general it makes a huge mess of the colony, which takes down their moods. And when people have mental breaks, they aren't getting things done, and sometimes they injure each other or the things you just built. So let's see if we can't find a cook. Cooking skill of 2, not bad. A lot of stab scars though. Cooking skill of 2, but you are incapable of violence. And a chemical fascinations, which means if you get any kind of chemicals, by that I mean drugs, in your colony, they're gonna take it regardless. No. So, now I'm not really finding anything that I want, so what we have over here is the randomize button. You can keep randomizing until you find something that catches your eye. Let's see, randomize, randomize. I'm looking over here for incapable of nuns. Brawler, fast walker, volatile. Mental break threshold, but these two aren't bad. Good melee skill, good cooking skill, good crafting. Medical and social, kind of okay across the board. But we do have an injury, but that might be alright. Let's randomize this character. Pyromaniac. No, absolutely not. Never under any circumstances accept a pyro or chemical fascination into your colony. When they have mental breaks, they will take all of your drugs and a pyro will set your base on fire. A lot of things catch on fire. Steel walls, wood floors, carpets, all catch on fire. One pyro in a mental break will destroy your colony. Do not take one to start with. Pyromaniac. Impressive. No, no. Okay, here's something. Here's something. I would say these are all pretty good. I wouldn't mind a better shooter, but... And then somebody for plants. So we've got you with all of this. You... Alright, none of those are good at shooting. So you are the shooter, but you're slowpoke, tough, and an undergrounder. Tough would be alright. I'm okay with these stats, actually, because we have got a passion for both of these. Intellectual is what's going to cause your research to go up, and the fact that someone has a passion for it means while they're sitting there, they're getting joy, because it's a long-term project. The only thing we really don't have is plants, and they can learn that. Do we have anybody with a passion for it? No. Okay, I am good with this. I am actually good with this. So, we have got, these are all of our stats. We've got everything, you know, it's got a pretty decent on everything. Nothing is hugely great, but these colonists will do it. And the main thing to look out for is you have somebody in each one of these groups. A couple of passions are great. You don't want anybody who is incapable of violence or incapable of hauling to start with. Actually, if you can find people who are incapable of none, are the best colonists. Don't take pyros and don't take chemical fascination when they break. It's not pretty. Let's see. So these are the 3 characters we've got. Conrad is like the best character. But, you know, let's just start with that. And then you generate a map. And now, the 3 of you awake in your cryo-sarcophagus to the sound of sirens and ripping metal. You barely escape the pods before the ship is torn apart. Sometime later, you land on this unknown RimWorld. As pieces of the shredded starship fall around you, you start to make plans on how you will survive. Okay, welcome to your planet. And let them get on the ground. And pause. Oh, hold on. You need to be burst out of your pod. There we go. Alright, now pause. Don't let them move again. And take a look at your map. What do you have to work with? Alright, starting out, you need to know what the resources look like. This right here are compacted machinery. They give you the components to make machinery stuff. Air conditioners, solar panels, everything. Steel, gonna need that. We've got a lot of steel. Do we have anything else on here? This could very well be an ancient danger right here, which is basically a container that has unknown dangers to it. And I say unknown because it can change. You could have mechanoids or machines that could kill you, especially starting out. Or it could just be full of pirates and cryosleep caskets. Kinda still don't want to touch that until you've gotten everything established. But it's a good idea to keep an eye on it. We've got some more food down here. Let's see, what else have we got on this map? We have got heal root. Keep an eye on those because you will definitely need those as you play. That is your medicine. The lower grade medicine. But still better than nothing. Alright, let's unforbid those. And there are hotkeys that you can learn. I have a hard time remembering them because I play so many different games that I'll forget them. These right here are important because these are your steam geysers. Later on in research, you can use these to harvest energy. Plus, they also put out heat. So if you're in a colder biome, harvesting the heat from this helps out your colony. And saves on energy cost. Okay. So this is our map. Defensively speaking, I'm thinking right here in the middle is going to be the best place to build. Yeah, and it even has a steam geyser in there, so that's of interest. One not too far to the south. What else can we find? And this map has got a lot of wildlife. We do have a wildlife tab down here for you to take a gander at those. I'll get into that in just a minute. But first, now you're asking, how should I set this up? What do I absolutely need to start up? Well, here, I'll show you. First, we're going to go into structure, furniture, sleeping spots. They don't actually need beds at this point, though you can get started on that. Go ahead and throw in a sleeping spot for each of your people. And because we're nice, what we're going to do is zone and tell them to put a roof on here if there isn't already one on it. Now, because I want to put a door on here to protect them a little bit, let's go ahead and put in an order for them to... Let's see, do we have wood? I don't see any, so let's chop some wood right here. And I'm not going to unpause it. This is all before they are actually unpausing it. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep an eye on for whenever we unpause to tell them to build a door, which will be under structure, build a door right there. And that is their sleeping area. That is all they need to start out with. That is the absolute bare minimum. Next, we need walls. And why don't we just build this straight off of this building right here? And let's go... I don't know, what size is that? That is an 8x6. And by the way, these are planning tools, so you can actually plan out what you want your colony to look like. It will stay on there until something is added to it, and then you can remove them like that. So it makes it a little bit easier to plan how you want to. Alright, now this is going to be our stockpile. To tell them that this room is a stockpile, we go to zones, stockpile, and just drag it across here. And if you click on it, not on the bush, on the stockpile itself, go into storage, you can tell them what you do and don't want inside this. Alright, we don't have chunks, we don't have corpses. Well, if we go hunting, we may want to put animal corpses up here, so let's click that on. And what else do we not want in here? Is there anything? We don't want anything rotten in here. No rotten, please. And anything else that we have right now can go into that stockpile. Now, stockpiles have to be covered and indoors, otherwise your stuff will degrade. So, make sure that you also tell them to put a roof on it. Usually whenever they create a building, they will automatically put a roof on. You can toggle this off over here. Tell it to automatically expand the home area around new constructions. This will be considered home area as soon as they start building on it. Home area means they will repair things and they will clean this area. And then... toggle visibility of zones. You see this is kind of red. You can turn that off. Rebuilding of destroyed structures in the home area. I didn't even know that was part of the base game. Cool. Anyway. Oh, let's see. What else should we do? Okay. the next step is let's go ahead and create another zone. We need a grow zone. Why do we need a grow zone? Well, because they're going to need food. There's apparently some kind of rocky terrain there, so let's move it over. They're already going to be cutting things down in this area, so let's use this. I'm going to say a 5x6 or a 5x5 of rice. And the reason being is if you take a look here, rice has got the smallest grow time, 3 days. It only takes them 3 days to get their first harvest. And it should come in before they run out of survival meals they crash landed with. So this is kind of the plant that you need to go to for your very first, before you even unpause it, thing. Alright, so we've got sleeping spot, we've got a storage area, and we've got a grow zone. And we still haven't unpaused it. And as a matter of fact, we still haven't unforbidden half of this stuff. Let's see. Let's go and do these. And all I'm doing is double clicking on all of these things. So anything similar to it will also be highlighted. And you can just unforbid it that way instead of having to do each individual thing. Still takes a minute. Now if you use the hotkey, it goes quite a bit faster. We've got a Yorkie. We started with a Yorkie. You usually start with an animal. You can change that in the scenario editor on what kind of character or creature you start with, really. One thing to be aware of are the predators. It's good to know. I think that's really all we need to worry about. There's some other things. There were some meals down here we should get to. Definitely bring those in, because we don't want those to degrade. Anything that will degrade, we need to bring in as quickly as possible. Steel by itself does not degrade. Okay, and those are already unforbidden. Let's make sure we get those in. If components fall out here, bring those in, because those do degrade. Take a pretty good look around. I think we got everything. Alright, so we have them able to bring everything in. We've got a room for them to sleep in. We've got a room for them to bring the stuff in. We've got wood being cut down and a garden going in. Those are things you should do prior to ever telling it to get off of pause. There's one more thing. We need to go back and assign our characters to pick up weapons. The reason being is you never know when the first raid is going to hit. Usually hits within the first 3 days. But it's good to go ahead and get it in there. What happens if there's a predator on your map that attacks part of your colony, and sometimes it does happen. So let's go ahead and check out our bios again. And you are the one with the shooting skills, so I want you to get the survival rifle. It's got a longer range. Equip that. Oh, I did not actually mean to unpause it. Don't unpause it yet. And you can check out the stats by hitting the eye on any of these weapons. They will tell you accuracy, how much damage it does, how much warm-up time, the range that it has. All of the stats are in here. And you've got that one. You have no shooting skill, so it doesn't matter which one. You are a brawler, so let's not put you on that. Let's give her, brawler means they use melee weapons, so let's give them that. And since you are a brawler, you will also, what I'm going to do is shift and click on these, so she will do these next. Okay, now what she's going to do, she's going to equip the knife, the helmet, and that, and then she will move on with what else she's doing. So shift click to give a chain of commands. Just be careful not to give them too many commands, or they could, you know, practically work themselves to death. Alright, all of that before it was unpaused. Let me see if there was anything else. I don't think so. Alright, now what I'm going to do is we are going to unpause it and let them do everything. What they're going to do is they're going to pick up all the stuff that I told them to pick up and start hauling these things in and building these things. And let's just see how that works. Over here we've got our play button, our 2 times faster and our 3 times faster. Let's just hit play and let them go while we check out the other things. Since we are starting out, we kind of need to know what all these bars down here do. Architect. Let's go into orders. This is how we tell all of the things that we want them to do. We make our plans, we mine, we smooth surfaces, which means you can smooth the sides of the mountain. Tell them to haul things, like these little things right here, haul them out of the buildings. Cut plants or harvest plants. chopping wood, hunting, slaughtering, taming of creatures, and taming goes off of their animal skills, so you might have to level some people on some smaller animals before you can claim the one that you want. Claiming, we can claim the structure that makes it ours, and now they will work on it and fix it. Stripping, in case you have somebody you want to get naked. Corpse or otherwise. Zones, we can deconstruct, we can cancel stockpiles, dumping stockpile, we can make us dumping stockpile here. And what that is for all these chunks or corpses of humans, which we're not going to butcher, or decayed things, basically. Shrink zones, in case you want to cut down the zones. Growing zones, you put it on the ground like we did before, and you tell them which plant they want to put in. Like right here, if I wanted to put in a separate plant, say the next plant I usually go for is corn. It takes longer to grow, bigger harvest. So that might be the next thing. And you can always check these stats by hitting the I. It tells you the yield, the fertile sensitivity. Basically, the better the fertile soil, the better the crop is going to come in, but potatoes really don't care. They don't care what kind of soil. And let's see, hit points, nutrition, if you're wanting to go into getting the, you know, the deep, gritty information about all of that, you can. And then the grow time is 11.3 days, so let's just delete that zone. You can shrink the zone, expand the zone, hide the zone, all from that menu. Let's see, build a roof, expand the home area. This has already got a home area. We don't want a home area over here, so clear it. We don't want them cleaning this area. No sense in that. Telling them to build a roof, remove a roof, ignore the roof area. And if you play in the colder climates, a place to clear the snow. The reason being is the slow snows people down. The slow snows people down? The snow slows people down. Words, folks, words. Expand allowable areas. Let's focus on that one. No, give me home area. No, let's do an area one. Let's assign an area for our pup. Say we want our pup to stay close to home. So we put the pup just going here. Now, some people will tell you that an animal will not cross over zones, so I also want to make it to where they can go over here. Maybe this is going to be the sleep area for the animal. We could do this for an animal sleeping spot. This is where our animal is going to sleep. Even though they're not connected, they can still get to it. So that is a thing. It just means that they're going to go the fastest way possible. It's going to keep our puppers, who we are going to assign in animals, to Area 1. And here we can also tell them to train our animal, which we're going to get into that a little bit more later on the animal section of it. Let's get back into the structure. We've got our walls, wooden doors, bridges, removing bridges, production. There's a lot of stuff here, all these workbenches that you're going to need to focus on, but that's not while you're doing the first pause. That's going to be the next video, how to set up for after the pause. And you start with cremation. That's new. Okay, furniture, beds, shelves, anything you can think of. This is all going to be later on. We're going to get into that. Power, you start with a wood fire generator. It's going to be a good idea to lay those down pretty soon. Security, it's going to tell you you need recreation. Let's scoot down to recreation and go ahead and put one of those in. You could go ahead and put one in at the very, very beginning, but that will give them the recreation. And sandbags takes care of the security thing that it's going to ask for in just a minute. So let's go ahead and throw those in. Security, as you can see, you only have traps, which traps have to be remade after each time of using, and sandbags. We'll get more into defense later. Miscellaneous. Tool cabinets, which bolster the workstations next to it. We'll get into that. Graves, if you have bad guys that come in, your colonists do not like seeing dead bodies, obviously. Sarcophagus for your fallen. Marriage spots for people to get married. Party spots for whenever they're happy and they want to party. Caravan packing spots for when we do the caravanning. We'll get into all of that later. Floors. Maybe you want to go ahead and put a floor in, but right now, not necessary. Will be necessary later. Recreation. We've already taken care of that, which they have right there. Ship parts. Don't worry about that until after you get the research done. And dones, yes. The next step is going to be playing around with the heaters and the coolers. But this is all you need to know to start out your game. A place to sleep, a storage area, and a small garden. And I do emphasize small. If it's too big, they're never going to get it all planted and harvested. A small garden. And then allow everybody to haul it in. Let's fast forward to when they get it all done. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and it's taken them pretty much one day to get all of this done. As you can see, our stockpile is already full. That's okay. This is just bringing it all in so that we don't have to go anywhere for it. We are fixing to use up all of that wood. No issues there. Our plants are already planted. They are already going to be growing. They have a place to sleep, so they're not going to be out all over the map sleeping. And they're cutting some wood down for the next stage of the project. So, I will see you next time. We are going to get into more of what these buttons do, and more of what all of your production is, and how to worry about the heating and the cooling and everything else on the next video. For now, that is it for what you should do before you unpause. I'll see you next time. You have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, and you stay shiny. Bye!